Eden Kaz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. P.S. Just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a psychological empath, meditation master, dimensional healer, all the things to help you within this ascension. To learn more about me, visit me at EdenJustBe.com. And let's get this party started. Oh, it's just me right now. Hello. This is Eden with Just Be Spiritual Boom in association with the Grassroots Warrior Network. And this is my second greatest hits compilation. I'm so excited to do this because there are so many great guests that we have on the show. And this gives me a chance to highlight segments of them and to pull out pieces that I think are incredibly juicy in terms of tidbits on spirituality, health, and there are so many personalities that have come on the show. We talk about the Great Awakening, always. Okay, I've got my notes right here. I have 13 guests that are going to be showcased here, including the likes of Nyla Nguyen, Bruce Poppy, Sheri Divband, and Grassroots' own Lisa Schermerhorn. And if I mess that up at all, Lisa, please forgive me. And then Brooke, my dear friend who was a yogi who was featured here on episode 54. And she sent me this awesome text this weekend that I thought would be a great lead-in to the show. And as soon as I read this, we'll begin. She wrote to me, I'm loving your guests, which is awesome. Yours is the only podcast I found that continues to introduce things well beyond spirituality and healing 101. Thank you. And you talk reality. Yes, we do. There's always a positive action we can take in response or a non-response. And these people you're finding are just amazing. And I'm really putting it out there that anyone who comes in the show at this point, a really awesome spiritual vibration, and I'm feeling that they're here, they're going to be here to help lift us up. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, thank you so much for being here and lending yourself to this. And I just keep feeling like I'm just going to keep plugging on. So let's begin. From episode 58. Oh, and if you're watching this on the Grassroots Network, I can't remember which episode I started being featured on that channel, but all my episodes can be found on YouTube as well, BitChute, and I'm also on Spotify and that sort of thing. And y'all, subscribe, because the numbers are just going wacky. So put it out there that this is, you like this. Okay, and it helps me. All right, let's start episode 58. Awareness to One, and AMP reporter, Caroline Chang. Caroline Chang. She would correct me on that too. Caroline, let's go. And I do some of this. All right. And then when I get prepared, I do a little of this. So you feel free to do whatever you like as well. I like to see what people come up with.
I love your name too, Eden.
Oh, thank you.
The Garden of Eden.
Thank you. Do you know how many people in doing the spiritual kind of work go, is that your real name? I'm like, yeah, it is. Imagine that.
Just point out to what you were saying.
Yeah.
The other part of being awake is understanding that we are, every single one of us, even the Kabal. 2 years ago, I did a thank you song to the Kabal because they're the catalyst to our awakening. Like, thank you, Bill Gates. Thank you, Tedros. Thank you, all you guys. Thank you, Fauci. I did, and it's a sincere thank you. I'm going to send you the link to it. It's a sincere thank you to them because they are the catalyst and they are our shadow side. They are not separate from us. Just like each of us individually have a shadow side. Humanity collectively has a shadow side. And the great thing about it, our shadow side is less than 1%. So it's all good. And when we truly wake up to understand that everybody on the planet, even the sheeple, which I say it lovingly, the people that are asleep and clothed, there's so many people now because the truth is so much in your face.
Yes, it is. And it's going to continue to be.
Right. If you don't see it, you don't want to see it. And and not every soul has decided to wake up in this lifetime, and that's okay. So it's all about having love, being grounded in unconditional love for everyone,
Right.
no matter where they are on their journey.
Episode 79, Golden Oracle, J.
And then, a little over a month ago, I found out that on the 777 portal was the new age of the Golden Awakening. The Kali Yuga and the Aquarian age is kind of stopping. That's, of course, everybody has free will. They can stay in that age if they want to, but really the Golden age is here now. And there's also a golden sphere around Earth. And we can connect now to the golden energy. And also people who have their golden avatar light body, it is also ascension that we have the choice to ascend to the golden planet. There's more than one planet in the fifth dimension besides the new Earth. There's this golden planet, and we have the choice to ascend to the golden planet, being this superhuman golden race of humans.
Okay. And it's so interesting, Jay, talking to you, Jay. I was just listening to a book from Dolores, an audiobook from Dolores Cannon. It's like recorded in the 1980s or something. And just listening to that part, again, it doesn't talk about the new Earth per se, because I'm guessing over the timeline we had to, this is all gradually opened up when we're ready to handle the information. Yet they also talk about going into the golden age, that it's not just the Earth changing, but there are going to be other planets. So I literally heard that this morning, and now hearing it from you. Episode 49, Light Warrior, Nyla Nguyen.
So the general collective don't really understand twin flames. They think it's like a romantic fairy tale journey that, I'm going to go find my twin flame and fall in love and be married, get happily, have kids, have a white picket fence, but it's not like that. So twin flames are the toughest, bravest, strongest, mightiest galactic warriors that the divine has sent into this planet to fight demons. In order for twin flames to come into this planet and to incarnate into this planet, they had to go through like the Navy SEALs on the cosmic level to pass all these spiritual tests to see if they have the qualification to come down here to incarnate. They are called the 144,000. Okay, they're called Earth Angels. You can call them Earth Angels. They are the first original light warriors. They're light warriors. They're not light workers. They are light warriors. How you can recognize them is that they have a very strong and ferocious warrior spirit. You don't want to mess with a twin flame because they're exceptionally strong and powerful. I'm not saying that just to toot twin flames horn.
But you are, yes.
We are exceptionally powerful. Some of us more powerful than others because of the incarnations we come into this planet, lifetime after lifetime, fighting demons, battling darkness. Our warrior spirit is very strong. And when people pick a fight with a twin flame, they're gonna be, they gotta be taken out. I'm gonna say this, bro, frankly, they're gonna be taken out because twin flame is relentless. When they go on the defense and they counterattack, they are relentless. One of us is gonna go down. It's not going to be twin flame, okay? So they have this very strong, powerful warrior spirit. And then on top of that, once they become activated and become awakened and do their ascension work and heal, now they're very powerful. They're unstoppable because they're fearless. Now they're shining so much light, raising so much awareness, casting the demons out. And then on top of that, they're empowering people to become warriors themselves. So they're very dangerous. Twin flames are very dangerous for the Cabal. This is why a true, genuine twin flame, the Cabal will automatically attack. To make sure this twin flame is in a victimhood consciousness, make sure they are not on the mission, make sure they're off their path, they're lost, confused, they're depressed, they're suicidal, because if once they're on their path, they're gonna be, a force to be reckoned with. And you can see that I'm one of these twin flame, that I'm a force to be reckoned with. You do not want to mess with me. People go on my channel.
Okay, and I had to come back to you guys later because I forgot to add these two. So it's dark and all that. Oh, the price to pay for doing a podcast. Episode 78, Starseed Empower, Ginny Lyran. So if you don't mind, talk, because it's really interesting. I've just had 2 clients that had their breast implants removed, and one was not having problems per se, but it was like, it's just time to get these out. And when they came out, they were just, like solid rock. So what did you go through? Do you mind? Because this is for women especially. I feel that this is really important. Do you mind
It is.
disclosing?
And for a couple of years, I was actually specializing and working with other women that had, breast illness is now a recognized thing in the holistic world. So I found out from a girlfriend who was having hers removed, and she had hers replaced. But she said, haven't you heard about this? I'm like, no, but it would help explain why I've had so many weird, just like horrible PMS, horrible periods, acne, headaches, horrible migraine headaches, fatigue, brain fog, all these things have been adding up for years in my life. I'm like, oh, maybe it's the implants. So at that time, there were these breast implant illness forums. Like, it was before Facebook groups and stuff.
Oh,
Now there's
gosh.
tons of Facebook groups on this for women to get help. But so I started reading people's stories, and they were identical to me. I'm like, oh my God, that's me.
Wow.
And they were having them removed, and you have to have them removed the right way. There's a right way and a wrong way. But I was reading, if you get it done by a really good skilled surgeon, you can get your health back. You have to do some detoxification,
Oh.
but you can regain your health. And so that was amazing.
Do you mind if I throw something in there? Because it was really interesting that you had the surgery in Ohio, which I'm in Ohio right now. So I will go ahead and put in there the same thing applies to getting amalgams out of your mouth. I got them removed by my normal dentist and was like, okay. I started having this weird pain here, and beautifully, I was seeing a natural doctor, and I went in one day for something else, and I just brought up, oh, I'm having this weird pain. He's like, well, did you just have I don't know how, did you just have your amalgams taken out or any dentistry done? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh my goodness, let's do this. So what could have been dramatic, like, it had just started beautifully. I went to him and it was all okay. So I'm assuming the same thing in terms of leakage toxicity, like someone who really understands what to remove, how to go about it is so important. Would you, well, it sounds like you agree with that.
Oh, it's so important. In fact, the doctor that I went to in Ohio,
Yeah.
her name is Lu Jean Feng. She's famous now in the breast implant surgery world.
Okay.
She has all her patients see an ultrasound specialist the day before the surgery. So I had to do this. And with ultrasound, he can see if you've had leakage, where the silicone has migrated in your body. And he takes a Sharpie pen and outlines it for the doctor. And so during the 5-hour surgery, she had to scrape out inside my chest all this silicone, because during a mammogram,
oh my gosh.
so if you have older silicone implants, and the FDA now even recognizes, took them a long time, and after 7 years, they say most implants are leaking, and if you have a mammogram, they squeeze you and they can pop it, and that's what happened to me.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing, this might be
Yes.
controversial. I will never, ever have a mammogram again. They are not helpful at all.
Please be controversial. That is kind of what the show is all about, especially when we're talking about the Great Awakening and David Icke and all of that is still controversial, yet not so much anymore. Well, from show 57, Scalar expert Tom Paladino.
Let me repeat that. Scalar energy is going to be the game changer that will end the monopolies. And when you end the monopolies, then you don't have that stratification, you don't have that pecking order. And you don't have that unfair pyramid in which only the people at the top or the organizations at the top enjoy the benefits, and everybody below that capstone is their servant. That's not fair.
Talk more about that.
Okay.
What are you saying?
If we look at society, and specifically the electromagnetic spectrum, it can be controlled, it can be monopolized. Everything from power generation to oil and gas exploration. You can include telecommunications, you can include medicine. But when we make that accessible to everybody, free energy, free medicine, free transportation.
Now you're talking. Mm-hmm.
Free everything, free telecommunications. Why? Because scalar energy serves as the infrastructure. What am I getting at? The universe is the infrastructure. Tesla discovered that. So have I. I've recently discovered that. I don't rely upon computers, telephone poles, substations. I don't have to drill for oil. I don't need an infrastructure. I don't have to worry about satellites. All of that is obsolete. So what we offer and what I want to extend to your audience, anybody in the world can sign up, send your photograph. We'll work with anybody in the world for free for 15 days. Visit our website. We will look at your photograph with this instrument, and the instrument will balance your brain waves and your chakras. The instrument will look for the microbes, the pathogens in your force field and break them apart. And then there's another therapy, I'll call it protocol, in which a scalar energy instrument will look at a photograph and will deliver or will assemble micronutrients such as amino acids and proteins and minerals and vitamins. So we balance the chakras, we eradicate microbes, germs, and we assemble nutrients. We do that every day for 15 days.
Number 50, Patriot and Seer, Bruce Poppy. 2018, okay, 7 surgeries, a perforation in your colon, a colostomy bag for 2 months, if I have this right, and to the point where you didn't really want to live anymore, or were curious about what was going on, but this reinvigorated your love for the country and changing things. Oh, okay. How was all that?
That was pretty accurate. Yeah. I mean, the 2018 was probably one of the worst years of my life. It was, I had lost my passion and purpose. I've always been,
Yes.
A positive, fix it, can do type of guy. But in 2000, after all that stuff happened, and I just lost my passion. I just didn't care. I wouldn't say that I was suicidal,
Right.
but I just didn't care anymore. I was, sitting around feeling sorry for myself. And, like I said, I lost my purpose and my passion for living. And it was I call them Luciferian asshats, someone trying to steal our country, and the people who've had their boot on the neck of humanity for so long, realizing what their plan was, and they're accelerating their plan. That kind of really reinvigorated me to, get on the battlefield and start, trying to give people information that can help them realize what's been going on.
So really interesting from a spiritual perspective too, that this was all about your heart. All right. How is your heart doing right now?
Right now, I was fantastic. Actually, I had to go I saw my cardiologist this morning.
Oh, no way.
And the only reason I had to go there, it's been like almost 2 years since I seen him.
Okay.
But I had to go there to get a clearance because I have to have some dental work done. So I had to go get a clearance from the cardiologist so the dentist would feel like their hind end was covered in case something goes awry.
All right. So let's get down and dirty from a spiritual perspective. How's your heart doing?
It's better than ever.
Let's hear
it's
it.
kind of funny you'd mention that, because my wife will tell you, any of my kids or anybody who knows me really well, I've always been that type of guy, not show very much emotion, keep everything close to the chest, I was accused of being heartless. They would, they say, hey, let's cut and see if he's got actually blood in him. If it's red or black, I don't know, because I just didn't have emotion. I just was a very non-caring, non-empathetic person. But this whole ascension awakening process, this, spiritual awakening that's happening for me, I feel I'm becoming empathetic. My wife is a crazy, deep empath. But now I get misty and emotional at almost the drop of a hat. And even just talking about it now, I could feel that stuff welling up inside me. Get a little misty.
Okay.
Get in touch with my divine feminine, as they say.
This is and this is divine masculine as well. And I'm so appreciative of you showing your mistiness and showing your emotion, because for men right now too, that is also, all of this is about getting in touch with the divine feminine and just being okay with being empathetic and caring, and especially what is going on in our world, and you're a big part of, to understand it, to realize that we are the good and the bad of it too. Like, none of this is separate from us, even the crappy, horrible stuff. So I am so excited for you. Tell me, number 80, Astro advocates and Feng Shui masters, Ralph and Lahni deAmicis. Yeah.
When we
What
look
would
at
you
the
say to that?
astrological chart, we're fond of saying, when we look at your astrological chart, this is your contract that you made with the universe when you were at the line of incarnation. You're like, okay, you're about to step over the line. What do you want to experience in this density?
Sign here.
This is what it is. So this chart, that's what it is. Now, we're your astro advocates, because who knows what the contract says? Nobody. Until you go to the astro advocate, they look at the chart and they say, oh, look at that. You had a really tough time with your father, but your mother and you were so close, but you had some challenges with your sister, or you really were very talented in this area, but nobody ever recognized you for that. And they go, how do you know that? Well, we're looking at your chart. This is what you asked for. And so when we do that with space, we get the same thing. We're fond of saying, we walk into your space, there's no secrets.
Because we're seeing the current you.
We see where you're blocking yourself. Where's your clutter happening? Where do you give yourself more room? What are you ignoring? Where are the blank spaces? And when you walk around this area, each part of the room is divided into one of 12 spaces that relate to 12 houses that are 12 areas of your life. And so if you look down toward the ground level, that's your past. Eye level, the middle of your wall, that's your present. That's what's occupying your consciousness right this minute while you're walking through life, and your plans for the future. And many people don't worry about their future too much, and that's why they get cobwebs up on the ceiling.
Upper walls are all empty. People who have very strong spiritual lives tend to have a lot of stuff up high, and people who have like deep investments towards the future have lost stuff up really high.
And it's why when you move and you still have a lot of stuff on the floor in boxes, you lean the paintings and things like up against the wall on the floor, you feel like you're stuck in the past. You can't really get moving. You can't start your new life in your new place because, everything is down there, and you're looking down,
You're looking
looking
down the
up
whole
at your
time.
possibilities.
Yeah,
So
optimism is caused by standing up straight. So one of the tricks it's why they make soldiers stand up straight, and it makes them optimistic. Look, children are always so optimistic. Why? Because they're looking up all the time at you. So
55 coming at you, Pia and Cullen, Interstellar Communicators, and my only regulars that are on the show. And there's so much with CGI. So also to give people a heads up too, that with CGI, it can look so real and so intimidating. Do y'all feel that there's anything happening right now in terms of UFOs that is true?
Well,
I would say absolutely in one word.
Yes, but they don't travel in little ships that are portrayed on YouTube videos. They have light ships that are energy based. So they can be seen or not seen as they choose to be. Mm-hmm. Why would they make themselves seen in a hostile environment that's trying to make them appear as if they are attacking the species they're trying to help evolve.
Mhm.
So they're here, that we can feel them energetically. Sometimes Cullen and I see them.
We've seen ships. We don't want to make this a controversial subject matter, but P and I over the years have seen ships that are so big, they take up the entire sky. And they're like cities, not just a small vessel.
Mhm.
And we've lived in places, rural, very, very far out of the way places away from cities where we've had these experiences. And it's just normal for us. I mean, it's not something where we go out, look up in the night sky and see something and we're totally, absolutely surprised or captivated because it's not new for us.
Right. So normal.
The key for us also, Eden, is that we generally feel the energy. We know they're there, and then we will go outside and look because we feel it first.
Mhm.
That's a very different thing from these man-made things that are being shot in the sky that people can actually see in physical form and be frightened because they don't know what it is.
And I heard Kay talking back about Brooke, episode 54, Yogi, Brooke Nisbet. Okay, Brooke, let's transfer, I guess is the best way to say it, into talking about you getting the vaccination, which I know was very hard for you. And you told me, I don't know how long after you got it, you told me because you're like, I don't want to tell you. I don't know if you said, I don't want you to be disappointed in me. Yeah,
Probably that, yeah.
Oh, but I really love you being here on the show too, because there are so many people that have been vaccinated, and knowing that this platform is to help to do you mind talking about what happened with you?
I do not mind.
Thank
So
you.
at the time I was a Department of Defense teacher overseas. So I was in Turkey at the time and working for, the United States Department of Defense.
Mhm.
And the whole thing came about, and of course we're teaching online like crazy people, tears and technology experts all of a sudden, and it was not pretty. It was really hard.
Right.
That was so like March 13th, 2020, school shut down and we had to start teaching online for the rest of that school year. I want to say that next year is that whole talk about the vaccine and blah, 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 blah. And I'm really funny about what I put in my body. I've had a lot of healing issues with these migraines, and
Yeah.
I'm just very funny about what I put on my skin, what I put in my mouth, what I put in my stomach, what I put on my hair. Like, I'm funny, and I should get to choose what I put wherever I put it, right? So all the teachers rolled up their sleeves and they lined up. It was February, I think, of 2021.
Okay. And you might have said this. You were in Turkey.
Do it.
You were in Turkey, correct? And you might have said that, but okay.
Yes. And I'll clarify, there was nothing about Turkey. It's all about the US government, because
Okay.
they ran the school. It's a government school, US government school.
Mhm.
And we were a couple miles from the US Embassy, and we had kids from the US Embassy in our school, active duty military members in our school. And our school was unique. We had kids from around the world, the diplomats and embassy kids from all over the world.
Yes.
And the US government brought, it was either Pfizer or I don't remember which one. It didn't matter to me because I wasn't getting it.
Mhm.
It was sort of that like suggested and hinted, and why don't you do it? Every teacher lined up immediately, rolled up their sleeve and said, do it, give it to me, except for myself and this one, the vice principal there. And she's like 72 or 73, and everyone thinks she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. She's very into earthy, crunchy life too. She wants to have this whole place when she retires in Africa where her husband is, this whole center, healing center.
Neat. Oh, neat.
So she and I were the ones that were not on board.
Compadres.
Yeah.
Keep going. I
And
just realized I
then
didn't
March
plug my
rolled
light in.
around. Do your lights, girl. And then March rolled around. It wasn't 6 weeks later, I think, where you have to wait X amount of time, not too short of a time and not too long or whatever to make the vaccine work, blah, blah, blah. So they all rolled up their sleeves again, giddy and excited. Got the shot again. They all felt like shit. They went home. They had a bad weekend. They all felt blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't cross their mind. They don't think anything. And they keep asking me, Brooke, did you want it? It's offer. It's free. The embassy's given enough doses for every single teacher. I'm like, no, thanks. No, thank you. Okay, are you sure? No, thank you. And at the time, I was doing the whole over my dead body. not thinking about if I'm going to need to go the religious waiver route. I didn't even think it would get like that. Then the more it started coming around, and it was basically you can, and at the time also where I was working was very toxic. It was beyond stressful. And I spent 2 years looking for a way to get out of that particular school, out of that environment. And that's why I am where I am now. Again, US government job. And I was worried that I wouldn't be able to I had just gotten offered a new job. And the new job is saying, there's some new document in the government. You have to sign a paper saying, I've had no doses. I've had 1 dose. I've had 2, and they're 2 weeks apart, whatever the little, stipulations were, blah, blah, blah. And, the first time I signed the paper, I had no doses because I had no intention of getting these doses. A year went by, almost a year.
Oh, man.
And people were now getting their boosters. And again, I'm being offered, did you want your shot? Because we bought enough for everybody. And myself and that one other administrator, the vice principal, we were like, no thanks. But feeling the pressure, they were starting to basically say, if you boil it down, you either get the jab or you lose your job. You won't be working for us anymore.
So it wasn't mandated,
overseas,
but it was secretly mandated.
Yes. Until it was mandated. Until it was
officially mandated. Okay.
And overseas, you're getting your salary, plus they're paying for your housing. Plus we had cars and everything there. I had an entire life and my in-laws and a lot of people counting on me in Turkey. And if I was single, I very well could have just gone back to the States, lived here with my brother in South Carolina until it all blew over and not gotten a shot. It was this pressure that I know I've heard a lot of people talking, people even on your show,
yes.
But I need to clarify, I was never at any point thinking it was a good idea. Never. A lot of people were like, yeah, we should do it. And then they later had that regret. And my regret is sadly that shit is in my body, but I never believed it to be anything good. I never wanted it. I felt coerced and I felt pressured and I felt that you will lose your livelihood if you don't have this. And my livelihood wasn't just like, oh, well, I have my house in America and I'll lose just my job. I would have lost my housing. They're paying my utilities. I don't know how to, you can't keep the cars we had in Turkey because we were foreigners with a special agreement between US government and Turkey. There was a whole lot of stuff that isn't normal in America for us to be there. So begrudgingly, and the last moment that I could take it. So with the day that I finally went, I was in the worst mood. I was a bitch. And there were people rolling up their sleeves. They were getting like their 4th booster or whatever, along with it was flu season.
Oh,
guys,
man.
Guess what? Today you can get your flu shot and your 4th booster at the same time.
Number 87, New Earth Child Pioneer Sheri Divband. I loved one video that I watched of you basically talking about how many screens we have in our house and our phones and all that these are portals, essentially, dark portals. And if we just say we don't consent to that being that way with us, that is all essentially all we need to do, not to say, oh gosh, you can have 20 TVs around your house and have TVs in your bedroom and all that stuff. But yet again, this control that we have over this oppressiveness. Is there anything else you want to say within that? I might have said everything.
You're right on. I mean, I went to a restaurant with my children the other night, and I looked around. I was literally like sitting there and I was looking around. There was probably 25 like basically we were in the epicenter of a TV matrix. Like there was probably 25 and they were all looking at me and I was like, oh my God, people have no idea the energy that's coming out of
and there's
these
so
things.
many restaurants like that now, these sports bars that you just can't even have a communication with someone because something's yapping in the back.
And every channel, every TV was playing something different. It was really overwhelming. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So this black box technology, they are portals. So the computer screens, the monitors, the phones, the TVs, all of the projectors, they are all portal systems that allow energy to come through and essentially come into our space and latch onto us, mess with us, do whatever it wants to do. It's part of the dark web, but not dark web, literally web, but the web of the
Got it.
matrix and their portal systems. And you don't have to get rid of all of that stuff, because I just like you, I need my computer. I use it every day. I work on it. I do Zoom sessions with my clients. I do interviews on it. I need it. I can't just throw it outside and get rid of it. And I need my phone. I need to be able to get in touch with my family. So we can use technology to our benefit, but also we can protect ourselves. So simply by knowing that what I just said, the way you protect yourself is you say, like the two most important things that I can leave this conversation with today that works for adults and children is, number one, I do not consent. So you say, I do not consent to any 3D interference. It could be a blanket statement. I do not, or you could go through, I do not consent to the portals in my TV, the black box technology, the ET interference, the this, the that, all of those things. Or you could just simply say, I do not consent to any 3D interference that is not, and this is the second part, that is not of my highest good. So you are saying anything that's not of your highest good, you are not consenting to. You don't have to say anything else. You don't have to list a million things. You could just say, if it's not of my highest good, I do not consent, period, in all dimensions, time, and space. And so it is, that's it. And you can say that once a day. You could say it twice a day. You could say it whenever you feel like you might be being attacked. You have some weird undertone of knowing like something's around me. Just say, I do not consent to 3D interference. That's not of my highest good in all dimensions, time, and space. And so it is. Teach your children that are old enough to say it. My daughter says it. She likes to listen to certain music. And I say, no, you can't listen to this artist because they have sold their soul. She's like, but mommy, I really love this song. Okay, fine. I'll listen to the song. And I'm like, all right, well, it's not that bad. So what I'll tell her is, okay, if you want to listen to it, you say before, I do not consent to the 3D interference of this song and any energy that comes with it. And she does it. She's like, mommy, I said I don't consent. Good. So I teach them, you know, because we're living in this reality, like
right.
We hear the music when we go out in the stores where it's around us. You can't avoid it a lot unless you're in the woods. So I just teach her, I do not consent. And she says it. And my older son says it. And my middle son will say it. I say it. And if they're too young or you just feel like they're not going to get it, then you do it as their parent, father, grandparent, mother, caregiver. You can do it for them. Say, I do not consent to any 3D interference towards my children, my daughter, in all dimensions, time, and space. That's not for her highest good. Now, the other side of that, the positive thing that you can incorporate is you can start saying positive affirmations. I attract, I am universally loved, supported, and protected for my highest good in all dimensions, time, and space. And so it is. So you're just saying, I attract abundance into my life with these, or any experiences that align with my highest good. Aligning with my highest good should be at the end of every set, like those ad libs that you used to do when we were younger. Like you just end your sentence with that, as whatever you're praying for, as long as it's for my highest good, and you just learn to say, I do not consent, and make sure you're specific about whatever experience you're calling towards you aligns with your highest good. Those two things will change your life. Just those two things. I mean, among many others, but those are two really foundational ones.
46, Stephen Mathewson. I'm going to look at my notes, AKA Tyrone Semper.
MK Ultra, MK stands for Mind Control with a K, okay? And it was a program that was out of the OSS, which is the CIA, back in the 60s. And so basically all the music that you like from the 60s is MK Ultra inspired. Put up the Beatles, the Grateful Dead. They used LSD to further their cause of mind control. They used it. I mean, this is all common knowledge. It wasn't until the church committees came out in the 70s where they actually kind of fessed up to the fact that it was that there was such a thing as MK Ultra. And I believe that they've listed, like 100 programs, but I bet they've got millions of programs, and they gave birth to other programs, not just MK Ultra. It's like the new MK Ultra, whatever it's secretly called. In the early 80s, the head of CIA said to Reagan, he said, okay, we can basically make people believe anything. Okay. And so out of that comes 9/11, the war in Iraq, the COVID, Branch Covidians crap, all this vaccine stuff. That's all just MK Ultra in my book. So the moon landings are a fun way of pointing at the MK Ultra and showing that it just doesn't work. You can't get outside of this earth with a rocket and live to tell about it. Okay.
Episode 59, hypnotherapist, author, so much more, Lisa Schermerhorn.
So this is a really cool story. When COVID first started happening, I had a bunch of friends and we got together and we were like, something's not right here. Like we knew something wasn't right, but we didn't know what it was. And we saw these mandates coming down. And I started watching Dr. Christiane Northrup, and she was part of something called Maine Stands Up. And every day I would watch her and she would inspire me. And so a group of us got together and we formed Vermont Stands Up. And every 2 weeks, we would take turns meeting in my living room and my friend's living room across the state. And people would drive 2 hours because we needed community and we wanted to know how we could take action. So, and sometimes it was just a spiritual meeting where we just did guided meditations and held hands and just cried together because people were being ostracized from their family. They didn't know, what to do. So we created this community.
So how was your state? How did your state respond to all of this too?
Like we are Bernie. We're Bernie country. It's very, very, very far left. So I was watching Michael Jaco, for any of you who know him, he's a big truther out of Florida. And I was watching his show and he had a guest on named Kevin Hoyt. And I was watching him and he was talking about how he was from Vermont and he was running for governor. And I was like, wait a minute, I've never heard of him. And we have been really involved in the community and started to, really look at our politicians, and he never came up. I didn't know that name. So I contacted him, and at the end of his podcast, he said, I get thousands of emails, so I often don't see them. Please don't get offended if I don't get back to you. So I was like, on a wing and a prayer, I sent him an email and I put in the headline, fellow Vermonters. He contacted me the next day. He said, I need to see you. He said, I'm going to be in Burlington this weekend, because he lived in Southern Vermont. When on my way back, could we meet? I said, well, I'm going to be in New Hampshire visiting my daughter. So we're going to be coming opposite directions. If things work out, it'll be perfect. So I was on the highway and I got a call. Said, where are you? I said, I'm near the Montpelier exit. He said, so am I. Get off.
My gosh. Right.
So I get off and then he goes, are you in a white car? And I'm like, all right, this is creepy. I don't know this guy. So he follows me and we stopped at a coffee shop. And it was a place where everyone was mandated to wear masks. And we walked in without masks and sat down and had a conversation. And I told him I'm in this process of writing a book about, and every belief is a lie. If you look at the word belief, LIE is in the middle of it. And it's all about how we're programmed. And so I was telling him about this. And I said, do you happen to know Dr. Northrup? I would love to connect to her. I don't know how to get in touch with her. He said, your message is really important. I want to get you on Michael Jaco's show. I said, get out of here. He goes, I'm going to see what I can do. He called me up the next weekend. He said, I've done something better. I got you on a show with Michael Jaco and Dr. Northrup.
Oh my gosh. Nice.
So the three of us got on and we had a ball. We laughed. We had so much fun on that show. And then from there, Kevin said, I'm buddies with this guy, Louis Herms. He's starting this truth tour. I think you need to be part of it. And he connected me with Louis. We did a Zoom call from my phone when in the car. And he's like, I like your energy. I want you on it. And, I felt like I was on this train that was just moving, and I just got on it because everything was aligning in ways that I never imagined. I still, like, people laugh and it's like, oh, I saw you on this Truth Tour podcast and this podcast. And I was just sitting in a log home in Vermont, minding my own business. But the taking of action, creating community. So that group of 25 people turned into a group over 1,500.
Oh. Episode 53, Truther and Patriot, Trina Welch.
Just be practice.
Lift our heads and just take it to him. Heavenly Father, you are so good and gracious that you've given us this life. You give us another day to represent you. You've given us a day that we have a chance to offer up the love of Jesus Christ is for every human, no matter what they've done, no matter what they've been through or what they're facing. That, Lord, that your love is so big that we're never alone. If you're living within us and the Holy Spirit's there, we're never alone. We're just a vessel, and we're just asking you to be our guide while we're here. Give us the gift of discernment, Lord, to where when we step in a room, that we can call them out. And God, make us an army that is not fearful to open our mouths for you. Let us stand in that presence. Let us get close enough to your word that we can rebuke it and call it out. For too long, we've remained silent. For too long, your children have not stepped up. And let us be that vocal army that calls out the demons and cast them back to hell. We thank you for each step you take with us. We thank you for being our comforter, and we thank you for being our shield and protector. And we give grace and glory to all of those around us to be respectful for each of their own opinions. But Lord, don't ever let us back away from showing them that you're the one that sits on the throne. And we know the end of the book, and we know where we're headed in this next new life of 1,000 years of peace and greatness and an eternity with you, Jesus. God, just give us this day that we can be present and send out love and give honor to you. We know that's the currency of heaven, and that you're returning the wealth of the wicked to the righteous, to where we can do humanitarian projects and help people on this earth until we leave it. And we give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So cool of you to be here. I went from being off most social media to being on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or True Social, and you might be watching this on YouTube, Rumble, or BitChute. Or you might be listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm on over 19 directories at this point. So connect, comment, subscribe, like. Oh, and my intention is to have a new episode out Wednesday of each week. Oh, Lordy, more to come.